Hello and welcome to this Follow the Leaders, the Debate Comes Alive event. This event has been organised by DebateMate. A quick thing about them before we get started, get on with the good stuff, just in case you don't know about them. They're a global education not-for-profit who use debating to teach confidence, communication, critical thinking and leadership. Every week 6,000 students across the UK and the US and the Caribbean take part in DebateMate, and last year they had an 8-part TV series on Sky called Kings and Queens of Speech, which I recommend you check out if you haven't already, especially the live finale, which is in the House of Commons. Businesses as well as schools have expressed an interest in DebateMate, and consequently they started Genesis debate programmes, which Scarlett runs, that teaches communication skills, especially pitching in the corporate sector. If you want any more info on that, just find someone with a rosette and talk to them, ideally not during the debate. Just quickly, the reason that I became aware of DebateMate is I've been working for a while on trying to get young people to vote, which is difficult, it turns out, and basically that's to do with empowerment and engagement and confidence, which is of course exactly what DebateMate does, and so essentially we have a kind of shared passion to try and get young people to engage. So here I am, and here we are. Before we start the debate, quick disclaimer from me. I'm not a debater. I'm quite hazy on the rules, so this will be sort of slightly looser than normal. Just don't let that put you off. I do still think it will be slightly better than the leaders' debate I just sat through. All right, let's get on with it. So the motion that we're going to be debating is: this House believes that the success of reality TV proves that young people have bad taste. Each team has been arbitrarily allocated to their side, so they're not necessarily going to be expressing their actual opinions, they're just good at arguing, you get that, right? So we're going to start with the first proposition speaker, Alex McQueen, who of course you know. He's an actor and writer, he's in the thick of it, he's in the In-Betweeners, he's a DebateMate trustee, and he's a qualified barrister, so if he isn't good,
great.
Don't employ him. His favourite TV show is 24 Hours in A&E. You've got 3 minutes.
Well, splendid.
Starting now.
Lovely. Well, very nice to meet you all. That's right, my name's Alex McQueen, and I've been involved in a couple of programmes on television that you could describe as slightly bad taste. The Thick of It, with its heavy reliance on foul language, and The In-Betweeners, which also has strong sexual references. But before we got the motion this morning, we had a brief discussion outside, and I thought I'd be sort of sensible about defining the motion. Defining what is reality TV. Does it include things like Gogglebox, 24 Hours in A&E, or is it just the sort of the Kim and the Kardashians and the Naked Attraction and Love Island? What is reality TV? And what is bad taste? What is bad taste? And that triggered in my mind the last time, in fact, I did a debate for DebateMate. It was 5 years ago at the Middle Temple. And I was as we know, I was a barrister, still am a barrister technically. And as part of that training, we have to do dinners, 12 dinners over the period of the training, 2 years. And on one of these dinners, I attended the Middle Temple, and the rice in the lunch we had there got stuck in my throat. And I began to sort of gag on it, and water began to sort of emerge, and I was put into a flat spin and a panic. So I went to the organisers at the back of the hall and said, listen, could you call me an ambulance? I think I'm choking. So they said, listen, to be perfectly honest, it'll be quicker jumping in a taxi and getting yourself to St Thomas's A&E, which I did. And I got to A&E, and they tried to have a look down there, and they couldn't see what was going on, but they said, listen, in 12 hours you're going to need to go onto a drip because you're losing so much water. Get yourself back down to your local hospital. So I took the train back down to Epsom, where I'm based, and I was on the train all the time throughout this sort of 35-minute journey, trying to dislodge this rice. Anyway, I get back to Epsom, and I see the timing there. I get back to Epsom, and they put a little relaxant into my bum, and the rice eventually departed. But this is the point of the story. They said, you must come back and have what's called a barium meal. And this barium meal is where you take some concrete that's basically sort of radioactive. It passes through your system and they photograph it to see what might be wrong. And I had that. Afterwards, I went to the toilet in my, at home, and I passed through a motion. And then about 2 hours later, my father went into the toilet, and he saw what he thought was broken parts of the soil pipe. So he put his hand straight into the soil pipe, thinking he'd better get that out. And in fact, he put his hand straight into my radioactive stool that I'd passed that morning as a result of my experience at the Middle Temple, which was the last time I told a story in bad taste with the debate mate crew. Anyway, I should return back to my the important points I'm trying to make, which is what is reality TV, what is bad taste. I've sort of indicated what it might be, and Scarlett here is going to sort of elaborate more about why we may have bad taste on television, why young people aren't necessarily involved in the process enough, and then Kima is going to sort of summarise the various points made by both sides and make a much more persuasive argument than I have. Anyway, I shall leave you in peace now. I've had my 2 minutes.
Oh, and a bit more, Alex. So, Alex demonstrating, and actually there is no need to talk about the motion. You can just tell an anecdote and you'll kind of get by fine. So now on to our first speaker for the opposition, Sarah Geeta, who is the Chief Operating Officer of All 3 Media, who basically own everyone, probably all of us here, and she is also a qualified barrister. And she also has a lovely story about a barium stool. Or does she? We'll find out.
Good morning. Now, my learned friend Alex, I mean, he obviously has absolutely nothing to say on behalf of the motion. So it actually proves my point that it's not true. And just because these reality shows exist and they're watched by young people does not mean young people have bad taste. They are one of many different types of shows that they watch. They watch Bake Off. Charlotte Moore told us this morning 3 million people watch Bake Off. They watch Fleabag. 23% of that audience are 16 to 34-year-olds. Anyway, back to reality shows. And in my view, reality shows do include shows like Gogglebox, Goggle Sprogs, which is all young people. So that's, just shows you, and it's a brilliant show, brilliant taste. And then there's Naked Attraction, which I have to say I watched for the first time this morning because I thought it's going to come up. It's come up a few times, so to speak, and I need to watch it. Now, this is a middle-aged lesbian here, standing here saying this to you, and I really enjoyed the show. I think what's really... what's really interesting is that it provokes debate. It's pushing the boundaries. Nowhere before have we seen a show on television which has... The second half of the first show I watched today had a young woman on it, and she said, that she liked to sleep with both men and women. So they actually had a split choice of 3 men and 3 women. And it was really interesting to see the different types of body shapes, and I have to say I'm sitting there thinking, okay, which one will I choose, and why and the rest of it. And it's a really interesting programme. I think it provokes debate. It provokes debate around gender fluidity, which is going on, and the other thing is it shows you that young people have conversations which are different and in a different vein to when actually I was younger. And I think it's brilliant. The other show, Big Brother. So we've all seen clips of Big Brother, and I saw one this morning which showed, I can't think of another way of saying it, so I'm going to say it like this, a young couple shagging on one of the beds. And I have to say that the thing about that was that actually it was around the comments that were made. Now, some of the comments, the initial comments, are slightly bitchy, but actually what it does is it provokes debate. It provokes the morality of whether you shag in public or not, and all that kind of stuff, and what's acceptable and what's not. We know that a large number of young people watched the Brexit debates, and also some of them voted the wrong way, in my opinion, but there you go. The other thing I just want to finally say is that this generation is better educated than any other generation we've ever had, and they're more socially progressive. And on that note, I'm afraid we don't agree with the motion.
Thank you very much. And I think we will extend this session and we'll do a second motion. This House believes that we should shag in public. The second proposer, Scarlett, Managing Director of Genesis Debate Programmes. She's represented LSE at the World Debating Championships. She is going to pick up where Alex left off. Good luck.
Thanks, Rick. So, it's interesting what Sarah said about how she really enjoyed watching Naked Attraction and the threesome on Big Brother, because what she said is it promotes debate and provokes these issues in public, gets people thinking about it. But I mean this with the greatest amount of respect, Sarah. Who are these debates being provoked about, and with who? It's not about any of the 6,000 young people I interact with on a nearly daily basis through the work that DebateMate does. It's not the fact that I know that Kiana and all her mates, who represent probably a large proportion of London, it's not what they care about. What they care about is, social justice, is cybersecurity, is making sure they can fall in love and not get fucked around by someone. That's what they care about. They don't care about whether TV companies and people, standing at the podium an hour ago think that young people care about sex. Because what you're doing is essentially pigeonholing young people like Kiana, like maybe I'm young, am I categorised as young still? Yeah. Young people like myself, to thinking that all we care about is sex. And actually that is the issue of bad taste, ladies and gentlemen. Because what I think, and there's no disrespect meant to the leaders that were debating earlier, Jay Hunt, Ben, they're saying all young people care about is sex, and I just really don't think that's true. And the problem with these TV shows, yeah, they're enjoyable and you can watch them, but it does two things which are really bad. First of all, it makes people seem that in order to get famous, you've got to get on TV and get naked, and therefore there's an implied judgment that you are good if you're on TV and naked, so it makes all young people think that they have to get on TV and be naked. No thanks, I'll take you in a second. And secondly, it makes society, Sarah, the people who actually make the decisions, think that all young people want to watch is these shows about sex, about threesomes, about sex in public. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the problem is, and I know everyone said this 100 times, and this is something you've heard last night, but it's real, I'll take you in a second. There aren't enough shows for young people, created by young people. That is the problem. That is the issue that we need to address. Not whether Love Island or Naked Attraction is what young people want to watch. They watch it because it's out there. Doesn't mean it's responding to demand, and it doesn't mean that is what young people want to watch. Go.
What is the purpose of TV?
What is the purpose of TV? That's a really good question. I think the purpose of TV is to entertain, for sure. The purpose of TV is also to educate. And I think the actual question that you guys need to answer is, what is the responsibility of stations like BBC, like ITV, like Channel 4? Do they have a responsibility that extends beyond, responding to base needs? We on this side of the house think they do. We think they're pigeonholing young people by saying all they care about is, what tattoos people have on their genitalia. And we don't think that's fair. We don't think that represents young people. And frankly, we think they've got a real problem if that is what they think young people want. Thank you very much.
Okay. Oh, I always forget how much I enjoy the point of information bits. I'll take you in a second. I'd love to say that to someone. Okay. Opposition speaker number 2 is Yarrow. We just watched the leaders debate together. It was fine. She's an assistant script editor at BBC Drama. She's an alumna of the network, and her fave television programme is Hey Arnold. The floor is yours.
That was quite interesting because you ended with saying that channels have responsibilities, and of course they do. Sorry, Sarah. Jay Hunt did say that she had a responsibility, and she's also a business. So she cares about what people are thinking about, talking about. These kind of shows, the people aren't just plucked from another planet. They're in England. They're representative of English people. And another thing is, it's not really about who has what animal tattooed on their lower parts. As we didn't get to see in the VT, the end of the clip, it was someone who is representative of completely underrepresented people. We have a BME person with a disability who is wanting to be seen on face value. And I thought that was really important. And I think reality TV shows... No, thanks. I think that reality TV shows aren't there to only inform. No, not yet, sorry. They're there to entertain, which is what you've said. So I think that it's very unfair to think that all young people watch reality TV. Of course, it's not true. I voted for the first time last year. Legally, I was able to, which was really great. I was glued to my MacBook. I don't have a TV license because I'm in a shared house, so I have to catch up on everything afterwards. So that shows I'm actually really eager to learn and know about things, but it means I can still be entertained. So I think that's very good. And you were saying that you weren't sure whether you're a young person or not. The thing about saying that young people have bad taste is anyone under 34, according to TV, is a young person. So we all have access to TV. So that's saying like a 33-year-old person has got bad taste, or a 2-year-old with an iPad has got bad taste. So we have to define what young people actually is. And we also have to remember that a lot of the time there are so many Ofcom reports, and I think it was Ben Frau that said that we're not really sure how many get held up. But these Ofcom reports, British people, we are a society, we love to complain. And as long as these things aren't harmful or discriminating against other people, I don't see what the issue is. If you don't want to see people having sex on TV, turn off your TV. If you want to complain about it, sure, go for it. But I can say, if I see someone having sex on TV, I'm not going to go out and just have sex with some random person on the street because I've seen it on TV, because I'm a multi-dimensional young person who's able to make up my own mind. Another point is that we do care about social justice. Kiana, you said that you care about social justice. Scarlett said you care about social justice, which is great. We need people like you. But we also need to be entertained. Sometimes it's nice to switch off and escape from all the trauma we're seeing in the world and in how we're growing up. So I might have to check out and have a look at willies with elephant tattoos. That's all.
So we've heard from proposition and opposition. Now we're going to open up to the floor debate. So any points or questions you'd like to make, anyone at all? Do not be shy, otherwise I'll pick on you. Yes, madam at the back. Can you wait for the microphone? Sorry.
I think it's really interesting from someone that's just trying to get into the industry. What I'm finding is the fact that then people higher up aren't taking the opinion of younger people, because as a young person you have to go in right at the bottom, you have to work to 11 o'clock at night, and my opinions, for example, aren't being taken forward, because I think people are just presuming that we do like these sex programmes. They're presuming that we do like watching Made in Chelsea, The Only Way is Essex, and young people...
Point of information, Made in Chelsea is quite good. Carry on.
Yeah, no, I agree, it's all very good, but I've got a 13-year-old sister, and she's growing up with this, and we've grown up, luckily my generation have grown up before that, so we can see that it's not real. But they're growing up and they're thinking that it is actually real, and I think that's a real worry for a lot younger people, the fact that these programmes are actually promoting that that is real life and it's not real life. What was the point I was trying to make from that? The point I'm trying to make is, I think they're great programmes, but we also need to put a lot more reality that is reality. So these programmes should now be not called reality because they're not. I feel that these programmes aren't reality, and maybe there should be more programmes, like Shane was saying last night, about real problems like disability and abortion and all things like that that are actually reality, because those programmes are being made to believe, they're making us believe they're reality, but they're not.
Okay, anyone want to respond to that?
We'll respond in the summary, I think, just because...
Yeah, very good. Yeah, no idea of the rules. Anyone else? Yes, madam here. The microphone's coming to you at pace.
I completely agree with Charlotte. I think that that there should be more young people able to have a say in what they want to put out on television. And I think that, especially in the media, I think we're getting quite that there seems to be quite an elite that are in charge, and that they think that exactly that the young people want to see these things. And it's actually a real dumbing down and very patronising to young people. It's not, I don't think it reflects the reality of youth at all. And if it was, that's really depressing. So I think that it's an elite group of people in charge that are creating what they think would be great. You know, this whole thing, like they were saying, that it's a great thing, this gender fluidity, but maybe that's a creation that they're trying to put out there, and actually that's not something that youth is that interested in.
Any obviously point of information, Scarlett. Yes, lady here.
Is this on?
Yeah.
I can't hear because I'm under this, but yeah, I'm really interested in the discriminatory nature of this debate about young people. Because when you start to look into society in general, people come at different ages to realizations. And it seems to be driven from the lowest common denominator of attracting audiences and attracting markets. And in that circumstance, with regards constantly focusing on, for example, sex or pornography, these are the highest drivers in the online markets and on the web. So it's a cynical ploy to be focusing on that and the sex dynamic to attract the younger audience. And I just wondered if the panel felt that the driver is incorrect, and that by looking at the younger person in that market, that it's just a cynical marketing ploy as opposed to actually servicing that young dynamic. As Shane spoke about last night, they're looking at other markets, other content-driven elements to do with the environment and abortion, social justice and social rights. So is it not, we're looking at the wrong side of this, it's not about the young people, it's about what drives the markets and brings the money to the channels.
Good. Do we have time for... No? No, we don't have time. Very good. Okay, so we move on to our summary. So we're going to be responding to those points. We're going to start with the opposition, and Kiana is going to be doing it.
Actually, just go with Kiana.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, cool.
It's so hard for me. I don't quite get it. This feels fine to me. Yeah, we'll do this. So Kiana is going to be speaking for the proposition, and she's an ex-DebateMate student. She's just finished a year working in the DebateMate office, and then she's going to study law at Warwick. Her favourite television show is also mine. It's called Power. It's on Stars and also on Netflix, and it's unbelievably good, and you have to watch it. Kiana.
Hello everyone. So before I get into the crux of my debate, I just wanted to say I pretty much agreed with the floor. Indeed, there are lots of things that are on TV for young people that are not made by young people. Young people don't even, I'm a young person, as you can see. I don't really care. Whether I flick to Channel 4, Channel 5, Sky, ITV, I'm seeing naked people everywhere. So in all honesty, it's really pretty much the same thing. But before I get into my debate, I just wanted to respond to also some questions that the opposition said. So there was a question of, okay, so what is the purpose of TV? And we agree, TV is there to entertain, but TV is also there to inform and educate. And what we are currently missing here is what we're trying to do is entertain young people by thinking all young people care about is sex, but we don't educate them. So then when we have young people growing up in a nation, sex-driven, all they care about is sex, alcohol, drugs, looking good, Botox, whether their bum's as big as Kim Kardashian's, we can't really complain because essentially that's all we're fueling them, that's all we're feeding them. And this is where we say that although young people may not necessarily have bad taste in terms of TV, there is simply bad, tasteful things on TV which they feel forced to watch. They're pigeonholed. And then instead of watching TV, what we have to do, like myself, I may have to go on Netflix to watch Power because although there is a bit of sex in there, yes, I can get a little educational spin on there and find out I do not want to date a drug dealer. No, thank you, moving on. Or have to go on Noisy TV or even Vice YouTube channel and subscribe to find things that are made by young people, that are documentaries that that I can be like, talk to my friends about and discuss. So another point that was made is that it creates debate. Now, what they didn't talk about in Naked Attraction is, although, yes, a lovely man was picked with an elephant tattoo on his penis and he had a prosthetic leg, what they also did is walk around looking at the guy and be like, oh, that's a bit too small, oh, that's too big for me, oh, I don't really like this, I don't really like that. So what we have here is kind of an oxymoron. We're saying that, okay, great, we're seeing different types of bodies, but at the same time, we're also saying, I don't really like those bits, I don't really like what you're doing. So we have young people growing up thinking, oh, hold on, I have a body like that one that lady didn't like or that guy didn't like, so my body's not nice, oh, I'm not correct. And then even deeper than that, if we take it just young people, like the lovely lady said, she has a sister 13 growing up where she thinks that she's grown up in this world where reality TV appears to be a reality, even though we know it's not true. And then if you watch certain shows like this, then what about your dating life? Is it just sex? Is that all we want to look for? I like the way he looks. I like his body. Okay, that's our relationship. That's our life. That's where we're going to be. Really and truly, what side proposition are saying is that, yes, TV is there to entertain. No, thank you. TV is there to entertain, but more so TV is also there to educate. And that, as we've said before, young people are pigeonholed. So we believe that there needs to be more content made by young people for young people. And as Shane said, whether or not you want to give your whole budget over, there needs to be something that is given over to the kids. So for those reasons, I beg you to propose and support this motion. Thank you.
Compelling stuff from Kianan now to the opposition, weirdly, and Iffy. So you're going to be summarising. Iffy is a DebateMate student as well, about to start a year in the DebateMate office, and then he's going to study politics at Edinburgh. He's the chair of the British Youth Council, and last month won the World Schools Debating Championship representing England. Why aren't you applauding? Thank you. So, the floor is yours, Iffy.
Okay, before I start, one thing I'd like to say, it's great to see a debate about young people with some young people actually on the panel. Something which seems to be rare in almost every industry and every conversation I witness. So I'm really happy to be on a panel where we have young people's voices. Something everyone actually talked about in the audience, something we all talked about in our speeches, which is essentially, you can only have good TV if you allow young people's voices. And we think, regardless of whether the debate goes one way or the other, that is the focus of what we believe in DebateMate and what we believe in general. It's about empowering young people to have a say in society. But on reality TV, we think you can do that through reality TV as well. Because, you know, we heard the purpose of TV is to entertain and educate. Well, one, it doesn't have to do both. As long as it does one of those things, it's fulfilling the purpose of TV. So if reality TV isn't informative at all, that's fine. As long as it's entertaining, surely that still fulfills some of its purpose. But actually, we do think it's largely informative. A couple of things. One, we heard it doesn't always promote real life. We generally think, actually, young people are very aware of that. We disagree. We think most young people are aware when reality TV is very scripted, that it is scripted. Actually, we think that young people are much more intelligent than a lot of people give them credit for. They understand how to decipher between this is real life and this isn't real life. Why is that so important? Because when we patronize young people and sugarcoat them and say they can't decipher between that, so we're going to have to put TV which is just obvious and plain and don't allow them to have conversations where they can debate what is the true purpose of this show, what does this really mean, that is when you cipher their ability to talk about issues, and that's when they don't have educated debates. And second, we had a lot of it's just nakedness and sex. To be frank, sex is part of society, and the older generation may have had taboos and not want to talk about that. I think it's great that young people are much more confident in talking about sex. Sex is not going away, it's an issue in society, and it's great we can have frank conversations about it. It's a good thing that every time Naked Attraction airs on the hashtag Naked Attraction trends on Twitter, and you see a debate. Because they told you, no, someone looks here and goes, that's too big, that's too small. Yes, they do. But the great thing about Naked Attraction is every person is picked is different. Actually, if you want to talk about body image, showing each person picks a different person and there isn't one perfect body is great for dealing with confidence. They wanted to simplify reality TV into only being about sex and nakedness, but actually young people recognize there is so much more interesting things within it. And look, they only wanted to talk about Naked Attraction as well. They didn't want to talk about Apprentice or The Great British Bake Off. This debate is about all of reality TV. And even if they don't like one or two of them, they do have to debate all the other ones which are really interesting, which everyone agrees with. They can't just have one example and try and shoehorn debate into being about that. Look, We think TV is great, and we think TV needs to do what other things do and empower young people. But the only way you do that is through listening to young people. And if that means they want things on social justice, that's great. But if that means they also want some light-hearted conversations about someone's naked body, that's fine too. Because each of that is their decision, and if it's their decision, I completely support it. Thank you.
Okay. So we've heard from both of our sides, and we're now going to have a vote in the room. So just to raise your hand at the appropriate time. All those in favour of the motion that this House believes that the success of reality TV proves that young people have bad taste, raise your hands. 3, 4. I mean, we'll do it, but it feels like a landslide. And all those against the motion, raise your hands.
Can I vote for both? Because I think they're both so fantastic.
No! Are you mad? Even I know you can't do that.
The young people on this panel are absolutely awesome. And the old people too, but the young people are inspiring to hear these fantastic voices. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to say anything now. But very good summary. Excellent debate. Thank you very much for coming. The opposition wins. Do check out Debate Mate online and all the fantastic work they do. Have a great rest of the festival. Thanks.